Facebook Live. Before we get started, if you give me a couple seconds, I want to go ahead and share this feed. So, and if you're watching, please share it. All right, a couple places. I gotta share. Okay, guys, we are going through some good, it's been a great day today, actually. All right, hold on one second. All right, if you are watching, comment below. All right, how are you guys doing? A couple more shares, one here. If you are watching this live, let me know. All right, give it a minute or two. We want to make sure we are sharing this everywhere because we're going to be talking about that, actually. So let's share it. Okay. All right, just sharing it to a couple places. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me know how you guys are doing. We are all sitting at home on our computers or on our phones. So it should be a great time to get together. Hope you guys are tuning in. All right, and I am getting questions already. All right, guys, doing well. If you don't know, my name is Sandra Noemi Torres. I am the founder of United Latinas, and I'm the owner of Plan Your Company. We are a marketing strategy organization. We help entrepreneurs, startups with content strategy, marketing, content creation, all of that good stuff. But today I want to talk about something in particular. Want to actually talk about a couple things. The fact that we're all, and I've been hearing a lot of things that just the things that we're going through, right? You got a lot of stress, you got anxiety. You know, this COVID-19 isn't making anybody's life easier. It may be for some, but for the most part, it's kind of taking us all out of our routine. So we're all getting acclimated to this new way of life. And bear with me as I'm doing this and getting some things here. We're all getting acclimated to this new way. So I want to kind of talk. I want to know what you guys are going through. I want to check in with you guys. That's kind of one of the most important things, right? Is how are we doing? So how are you doing? Let me know below. How are you doing? How are you functioning? Are you home alone? Do you have a full house? Is this the first time you're working from home? I know I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is not anything new. Everybody's kind of used to working from home. We do have some professionals that are used to going into the office, but for the most part, many of the people that I've had conversations with, this is kind of just status quo. But the one thing that has changed is the fact that other people are home, kids are home, spouses are home. So that tends to add, you know, a new element into the mix. So that's the difference, you know, and I want to know what you guys are experiencing. What are you guys going through? Economy down. Yes. Economy is down. It's really sad what's going on. All of this job loss. And on that, you know, there are things that we can do to generate revenue. You know, what should we generate revenue? So I want to talk about some of those things on how to really maintain your business in the midst of this pandemic. What are you doing? What should you be doing to ensure that your business keeps going? So that's kind of really, really important. One of the first things that I really want to talk about as I'm checking in with you guys and really want to know how you guys are doing is, are you guys checking in with everybody else? Are you touching base with everybody else? Are you calling or texting loved ones and making sure that everybody else is okay? And that's important. You know, I think some of those things are absolutely critical to our own mental well-being. Is our ability to reach out to other people. It's very difficult for a lot of people to say, I need help, or to say, I'm going through something, or to say, I'm stressed out, or I'm feeling this particular way. I do personal coaching and development, and I speak to women all the time that eventually open up to some deep-rooted things that are going on in their life. And I only feel empathy because I fully believe that we're all in this together. There is nothing someone else is experiencing that I don't feel obligated to carry with them. And I think that mentality and that approach helps you to really see the world in this broad view, seeing your neighbor as yourself. There are people struggling financially right now. There are people undergoing health and issues. And there are still the everyday scenarios, right? There are people still undergoing other ailments, not just this pandemic. This is not maybe the center thing in their life, but there's divorces and there's problems and there's loss, and there's all these other diseases that are still existing. So all of this is coming down on everybody, and we're told, okay, this is the most important thing right now. It's this pandemic, and it is. But it doesn't discredit all of the other things that some of you may still be going through. So I want to talk about that. Mental health is one of my things that I really like talking about because I have endured it. I think all of us have in some way, in some form. We've all gone through instances in our life where we're just not feeling it. We're not feeling optimal. We're not feeling productive. We're not feeling in the mood. This happens to everybody. This happens to every single person you meet. I think one of the things that is easy to do is to say, it's just me going through this, and wow, everything looks so perfect on the outside, and everything I'm observing from what people are posting and what people are sharing, all of this is they're doing good and I'm doing bad. That it's all into this myth of that this is happening, that the world is doing great and only you are suffering. And I had this conversation actually earlier this week with someone, and it's this idea that we often feel alone when we feel burdened by our own problems. We feel this weight, and we feel we're not good enough, or we have a million things to do and I don't know what to do first, and my mind is focused on all of these things I got to do. This is mental health wrapped up. We have to manage the health of our mind so that we can be productive human beings. That's probably one of the biggest jobs we have as humans, I feel, is to learn to manage our mind and learn to manage our life so that we can live productive, healthy lives. So I'd love to hear what you guys are going through. Yep, depressing, savings disappearing, investments disappearing. Hi, Tristan. Hi, Karen. Hi, Diane. Yeah, lots of fear. It's scary. It's scary. So I was actually on a call the other day and somebody brought up this question, and I'd love to bring it up to you guys. When all of this is over, when this pandemic is, behind us and we're all going back to where we're all no longer locked up in our homes, will you go back to life as usual? Will you go back to the same habits that you had before? What new habits are you getting used to during this process? And what will change in your life because of it? I think great questions to think about. Will you be the same? I hope not. I hope you're better. And I hope you don't say, yes, I can't wait to go back to everything as usual. Well, you shouldn't. You should want to evolve to something different. And I bet you are, maybe even unknowingly. But I think it's our job and our responsibility through every incident in our lives to decide who it is that we want to become because of it. So I want to ask you that. Who is it that you want to become ultimately? All right. So some mental health and anxiety, because I know a lot of you are feeling anxiety, fear. So what are some things that you can do? There's a lot of different things that we could do. One of the things is creating yourself a routine. If you're not used to working from home, creating a routine for yourself, right? We have to get into some habit that starts driving our mojo, where we start feeling like we're feeling productive. Because if not, you can fall victim to just becoming lazy and becoming just laying on the couch all day and doing a Netflix and chill. And I think that that's the worst thing that you could do. There are days for that. Don't ever take that away from yourself. And I don't ever let anything dictate when I'm in the mood to relax. So I don't want to have it come out that way. I think it's important to relax. It's important to shut down the business, but it's also important to make sure that during this time you are doing the things that you need to do to make sure that your business doesn't die out, that you're still rolling, that you're still going, that you're still being consistent with what you're putting out there and with your personal brand and with your business brand. So all of that is extremely important. So on that, let's talk about creating new habits. How to create a routine. Start with creating new habits for yourself. Some of you are already used to working from home, I'm assuming. If you are, hit a like, let me know, hit in the comments so I can know who's already used to working from home and who's brand new, in the house and is trying to function the life of being at home all day long versus being being in an office. I would love to know. Let's see if I got anything here. More. Hi. Okay. So who is used to working from home already? Who is a work from home pro? And then those that aren't, I'd love to hear what your routine is. What is your routine? What are you doing when you're up? Are you taking a shower like you normally would? Are you getting your laptop out and doing and having a list of the things that you need to do automatically? So what is the routine that you're setting for yourself? So I guess routines are pretty much wrapped around these 4 elements that I always talk about, which is your mindset, your business, your body, which means your physical health, physical well-being, and relationships, the relationships that we have in our lives. So I want to really talk about those things. So those areas of focus, your mindset, your business, your body, and your relationships. If you write those 4 things down and maybe even create columns for them. Okay, so you got your mindset, the things that you're going to do for your mindset, your business, your body, your physical health, and your relationships. What are the things that need to happen in all of those areas of your life? And those are only a few of the different areas of your life, but those are the key, most important areas of your life. So your mindset, things that you can do for your mindset, for your mind to de-stress, to release anxiety, is meditation, number 1. I think meditation is probably at the top, which is to be grounded. Be grounded in who you are. Be connected to the truth of who you are. It's so easy to get caught up with when we're running around that the life that we live is outside of ourselves. The life that we live is all of these external factors that are happening all around us. And I don't believe that to be true. The life that we live is wholly, internally, soulfully inside of you. It is who we are spiritually. That's how I feel. And I know many of you feel that way as well. But it's who we are. That's the most important thing. So how do you feel? And if you're not feeling happy, what can you do to feel happy? If you're not feeling, connected to others, what can you do to feel connected to others? You have to decide what it is that you from other people, from yourself, and write that stuff down. and start creating a list and put that down under mindset. What are the things that are going to make you happy? What does make you happy? I would love to know, because I know that after speaking to many individuals, that not a lot of people even know what makes them happy. They don't know what their purpose is. They don't know what they're interested in or what they want to focus on, because this life is so creative, right? We have so many attractions to so many different things. You know, I love fitness. I love food. I love, action. I love, all these different things. I'm not just one thing. None of us are ever just one thing. And this idea that we have to create a position or a job that is just this one focus, and just do this your whole life, is a facade. It is some trickery. Don't ever let anybody convince you of that. You can be multifaceted. You can be interested in a bunch of different things. You just have to find those things that will help generate revenue for you, because we all need to eat at the end of the day. So I want to talk about that. Creating a strategy for ourselves. There is no quick fix, but it's about keeping the momentum going. So I want to know what you guys are doing to keep the momentum going. And if you don't have anything, if I don't see any comments, I'm just going to share some things that you should be doing. Getting on the phone more, connecting with people more. How are you doing that? One of my favorite platforms, and one of the platforms that I love to do trainings on, is LinkedIn. If I'm actually will be having a LinkedIn training every Thursday, starting this Thursday for the rest of the month. We will be doing a LinkedIn training, and it'll be at different times just to kind of give flexibility to it. But LinkedIn is such a powerful tool. If you are watching this right now and you're a business owner, a startup, or a professional, LinkedIn is a critical platform that you should be on. Need to get on the phone more. Exactly. Thank you, Diana. Getting on the phone more. So what's stopping you from getting on the phone more? What do you need to get on the phone more? Because is it having people to call? Or I'd love to hear. I don't know if you can hear, if you're hearing me. Is it you need people to call, as far as your, like, a cold call list, or building relationships? What exactly is stopping you from getting on the phone more? Is it the fear of getting on the phone? That intimidation that you feel like you're going to be pitching somebody? I would love to hear what you say, if you can hear me. But I want you to think about this, especially now during this time, overcoming fear of calling, warm or cold. Okay. All right. Well, there's other ways to connect as well. So, and actually let's go into that. Okay. Because cold calls, sure, they're hard for everybody, especially during this time when everybody's worried about this pandemic, right? You may feel like, am I interrupting them? Are they in this whole another mood? And they don't want to take my call today. Grab all of that energy and all of that anxiety that you feel, and just kind of put it in a ball and throw it away. And literally, maybe you just kind of want to take those thoughts and those feelings and those emotions and just like visualize that energy going into this invisible ball, and just focus on that. Because all of that is just energy. Anxiety is just energy. It's not positive or negative. It's energy. So we have to manage that energy. And sometimes it's literally, what works for me is taking that anxiety outside of I literally visualize this anxiety coming out of my chest and going into this ball. And I'm able to just get rid of it, because it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve you. So I want to share some things about having warm calls, helping you set up warm calls so all your calls aren't cold calls, especially right now. It's so much easier to establish warm calls on LinkedIn. And this can be done on every platform. I just LinkedIn's my favorite platform, even though we're on Facebook Live right now. But so let's talk about any platform. If you reach out to anybody with a message, a direct message, and say, hey, I'd love to touch base and have an introductory call, 9 times out of 10, that person's going to say yes. Now you took a cold call to be a warm call-ish. Well, maybe not fully warm, because they don't know what exactly you do maybe, but it's not so cold. Now it becomes, I'm just getting to know this person. It doesn't become, I have to go pitch this person. It becomes, how can I build a relationship with this person? And how can they build a relationship with me? Let's get to know each other. Don't consider it a cold call or a pitch call or a sales call. Consider it, I'm just getting to know this other human being to find out if my services can. And I'm going to allow them to get to know me to decide if what I do can add value to them. So consider it building relationships. Don't consider it building if it's a cold call. You're building a relationship, you're building rapport. Now, I shared a video about this not too long ago, maybe about a week or two ago, about how making cold calls. And this is one thing that I found has always worked. When you're picking up the phone and making cold calls, I think one of the things we all hate is being sold to. Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody wants to buy something, and everybody wants to build a relationship with someone. So establish it that way. If you are forced to make a cold call right now during this pandemic, I would start with, understanding that, we're in the process of this pandemic, but get right to the jugular of what you do. Don't waste anybody's time if that's your sole mission. But I don't believe sales operates like that anymore. I believe that the most important thing to a sale is the relationship and the bond that you build with your client. That's the most critical thing. What are you doing to connect? Because are you looking at someone as a number? Are you looking at them as, this person looks like they would buy what it is that I'm selling? And yes, you're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel the stress. You're going to come to the conversation. You're literally going to come to the phone call with this overwhelm of, my job is to get them to say yes to me. And that gives you an anxiety, gives you stress. It's overwhelming, and it doesn't make it pleasant. But if you approach the conversation with, hey, I don't know if I could help this guy, but I'm going to have a conversation with him. And I think it's worthy of him to have or her to have a conversation with me. So approach it in this very light-mannered way. You're not approaching it as, I got to dial for dollars in essence, and I got to call this person, but I'm going to call this person and find out if there's a way that we can work together. I'm going to call this person and find out if there's any synergy in what it is that we're doing. I think that's so important. Don't approach it. So even when it comes to warm calls where maybe they do know about your product, I'd love to hear what exactly is the intimidation. Like, what exactly is it that you feel, even if it's a warm call? Because if it's a warm call, it's probably someone that already is aware of your services. Do you feel like you're bothering them? Do you feel, what is it exactly that you feel? But come to that conversation and to that phone call like you're just building a bond. No strings attached. Nothing. You don't want anything from this person. Matter of fact, you don't even want to sell this person. You just want to find out if this person is someone that you can provide value to, or they can provide value to you. Maybe that cold call isn't somebody that would be your ideal client, but maybe they know someone that would be, because you approach the conversation in a very conversational way and not in a sales pitch way. I think all of us can smell like when someone's trying to sell us something, and the moment we sense that, it's like such a turn off. So we have to turn it off within ourselves and just shut that part down and approach every conversation with, I'm getting to know this other human being that is also undergoing issues in their life and has family and has friends and is just like me, but a different version. Okay. I think it's very easy, again, going back to what I said earlier, to think that it's only us who are enduring the circumstances in our life. And we forget that this happens to everybody all around us. We need to be reminded of that. One thing I say a lot is, if you're standing in a room and it's difficult now because you're probably alone, or even if you have your family around, but if you're anywhere, any location, or even if you think about your neighbors next door, every single person you meet or that ever walks past you or that's ever on the other line, on the other side of that phone call, has suffered and probably is suffering and has self-doubt and has anxiety themselves and has stress. So when you pick up the phone, you think the other person that I'm talking to is not someone that I need to get a sale, it's someone that I want to know, because the most important part about our lives is our spirituality and our connection to other people. So think of the other person on the other line as another soul that you get the privilege to know, or that you want to know, right? Approach it that way. You're not pitching somebody, you're getting to know somebody, because you may not be able to help them. And I think putting the stress on ourselves that says, my product serves everybody, and if this person says no to me, I'm not, it damages some of my self-worth. We shouldn't look at it like that. That person wasn't ready for your product or service yet. But if you build a bond with them, and you build a relationship with them, and you learn how to do touch points with them, maybe a year from now, they'll be your customer. That happens all the time. So don't consider it, or don't stress yourself out with thinking that first cold call has to be a closed sale or get a yes from them. That first call merely should be 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes it goes over depending on the conversation, but give yourself a 15, 20 minute max window that you allocate on your calendar to say, I'm spending 15, 20 minutes to get to know this other human being, to get to know if we have synergy within ourselves, if I can help them, if they're interested in what I'm doing, if I'm interested in what they're doing, or if we have mutual things. Okay, consider it get to know call. That first call is not a pitch call. Not in today's world, not in this pandemic world. I definitely taught something completely different a year ago. It's all about, going right for what it is that you do, the benefit that you offer, and you may still have that approach. You may still have let me get right to the nuts and bolts because it's relevant. So long as it's relevant to the time and to the industry and to what you're doing. All right. So on finding leads, let's talk quickly about finding leads and finding connections and finding people to connect with. I think one of the most important things is that we define who it is that we are looking to target. Define who it is that we want to serve. I've heard countless of individuals say, my customer is everybody. Everybody's technically, should be a client of mine because what I do applies to everybody. Everybody needs it. I agree. Everybody does or may need something like that, but not everybody is your client. And when we dilute our efforts into focusing on everybody, we're focusing on nobody, and we find ourselves spinning our wheels. We have to create a clear direction of, this is who I serve best. Or take some analytics from some past clients and say, this is kind of the profile of who I typically serve. It's women, or it's millennials, or it's males between this age, or it's women between this age. Find some commonality in your past clients and then determine what it is, what it is that you guys are doing. Hold on one second. Not knowing what they're going to reply. I tend to be introvert. We're in socializing. Okay. Yeah. So there's tons of introverts. I love this. This is such a great topic because you not knowing what they're going to reply. You don't need to know what they're going to reply because, again, you don't even want them maybe to reply anything. You have to take ownership of that phone call. When you pick up the phone and you dial someone, this is your phone. This is your phone call. And this is you. This is all that you can control. And what you can control is your own realization of your own self-worth. You are worthy. You are worthy of what you do. You are worthy of who you are. You are worthy of having the audacity to pick up the phone and feel or think like the other person on the other line could be interested. You're worthy of that. And you're worthy of making that sale. If that client or that potential client needs your products or services and they would buy it from someone else, and the fear is, well, why would they buy it from me? You should be in that game. If that client that you're targeting and that you're calling is an ideal prospect for your services, and you know that they absolutely maybe have your services or products existing and you're trying to replace it, or that they should be getting it, approach it that way. We have to take back our ownership of ourself. I think that's what's missing. We tend to feel like, I'm not good enough, that other person should be doing that, that's good for them. They deserve it, but it's maybe difficult for me. We have to get out of that mindset, especially the Hispanic community, primarily, or the minority community. And the minority community, I've heard people say that not to use that verbiage because we're not minorities, but however you decide to say what it is. But, a lot of the minority cultures, the Black and brown community tends to feel a lack of self-worth, a little bit. And I think that's both cultural conditioning, and that's also the atmosphere and environment that we're in these United States. It hasn't been easier, but we can maneuver that because there are successful individuals that are just like you and that are your race and that are your sex. So it's a matter of you taking ownership of that. We have to say, I'm worthy. And you know what? If you hang up on me, it's okay, because it's not going to diminish who I know I am in the eyes of this universe, eyes of God, or whatever it is that you believe in. Who you are is completely significant. You don't need anything outside of you. You are worthy. You are beautiful just as you are. I want you to own that. Own it. There is nobody on the other line that's going to look down on you. And if they do, when I think about that, if they think negative about you, they think negative about themselves. Don't let that eat you up. Don't let that bother you. You take ownership of yourself. If that person hangs up on you, like they don't know your heart. They don't know how good you are. They don't know how beautiful of a human being you are. And it's their bad that they did that. It's their bad. It's their mistake that they didn't get the privilege to get to know somebody like you. But don't put the expectation on yourself when we're doing cold calls or warm calls that the person on the other line has to be immediately receptive. Build the relationship. Just build the relationship, build rapport, get to know each other. Just start that conversation. During these past 2 weeks, I've been having a lot of calls and on Zoom and just regular calls on my calendar. And it's all about getting to know each other. How can we work together? What do you do? What do I do? What's next? Is there space for us to work together? And that should approach it. So define who your target is. Do you know specifically who your target market is? And if you do, there are ways to look for them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, everywhere. Everywhere. You can look for them everywhere. You can develop a lead list from finding your ideal clients and your ideal targets. So work on that. LinkedIn has a great search feature. Facebook does too, where you can go on there and search if you're looking for commercial real estate. commercial real estate brokers. You can find those people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find them. You just got to search for them. You got to search for them. And the most critical thing is send them a direct message. Send them a small little message of connection. You want to connect with them. Maybe it's sharing something, you have mutual connections, but connect with that individual. Find something within their profile that resonated with you or that made you feel like they would be a good connection for you. And message them that without the expectation of anything, without putting the stress on you that this has to lead anywhere. Because what I want you to do is just in your mind, just give 10, 15 minutes to this phone call. And when it goes longer, you're building a great relationship, or you got to cut it off. If you know the conversation's not going anywhere, maybe the other person's trying to pitch you, but give in your mind this, when you're doing cold calls, and if you're running through a list and you're doing cold calls, you're hitting each one with a couple minutes. You're really just focus on 10, 15 minutes. I'm just giving this person 10, 15 minutes to get to know them, to build a relationship with them. And that's it. So when you take those expectations down, you'll start to see there's so many other human beings in this world that are on the other line of that phone that are just like you, that are undergoing the same thing. When you pick up the phone to do a cold call, I guarantee the person that's on the other line of that cold call is afraid to make cold calls themselves. Think about that. Think about that when you pick up the phone. The person that I'm calling has fear, has anxiety, has stress, has probably had a hard life, probably needs a little extra love, probably feels insecure. Extend that. Give that to that person on the other line. Let them see the beauty that is within you. Let that shine out of you and share that with them. So if anything else, that cold call turns into, wow, man, this person called me out of nowhere, but I feel good now after that phone call. She made me feel good, or he made me feel good just through conversation or through listening or through asking me how I'm doing during this pandemic. All right. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, you could search for whatever it is, position, title that you are looking for, and find and develop a list of the people and the targets that you want to have conversations with. Now, there's a couple different types of conversations. There are people that you want to target for business, and there are people that you should be targeting for collaborations. People who are going to help you, people who are going to teach you, people who are going to mentor you, and people who are going to provide value on your feed, right? I want to talk about content strategy for a bit. I know we're kind of running about 15 minutes left on time, but really talk about the approach of it all. So the content that we create should provide value to the other person, right? So we connect with other people because we want to see value on our feed. Think about what gives you value. What makes you feel like, wow, this person is sharing some valuable content. Think about that. And then work to create a strategy that creates a content library of content that's going to provide value to the people that you want to speak to. Because when you're providing value, sometimes those people are just going to DM you. You don't have to cold call them. They're going to contact you. So that's so important. All right. Any questions? Let me check in here. Yes, bothering them. Okay, we got that one. Let's see. See, going back and forth with two screens, guys. So give me 1 second. All right, and while I'm at it, as we're talking about LinkedIn, and I'm pulling up, let's see if there's any more questions on here. Connect with me on LinkedIn if we're not already connected. And you can just type my name, Sandra Noemi Torres, and find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Plan Your Company. Okay, so make sure you send me a connection request. I'd love to connect with all of you guys. All right, awesome. Yay, thank you, Tristan. Okay, so please describe how you cross the line from conversation to ask. I love it. There's always going to be a point where you know exactly, okay, it's time for me to say something. Now you have to be brave and you have to ask for that thing. So I was on a call earlier today and we were having a great conversation and we're kind of going back and forth, and she asked some things about some of the things that I did, and I kind of shared it with her, and I said specifically, what is it that you're looking for? How could I help? And do you have a budget already set aside for this? I like to ask that question because we all need everything, right? And it's easy to say, oh man, I'm talking to this person, I need content, I need this, I need all these things that, and that person may not have a budget already set aside. So I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. If it's going to be friendship, great. If they're not my customer, great. I'm just going to, I got my call in but we can build lifelong relationships. But there comes a point where you have to just own the ask. Own the ask. Okay. So it got to the point where I said specifically, what's your budget? What is it that you want to do? I'm willing and I'm able to help you do this. What do you have and when are you ready to make that move? Because some people think, or just gathering information, and I think a lot of us are that way innately, right? Kind of like to gather information, but go execute on a lot of those ideas that we have and a lot of that information. So it's getting right to it. I said straight up, great. She was interested, and I said, well, what's your budget? What do you have to work with? Because if I'm going to send you a proposal for what you want, because everything was shiny to her, if I'm going to send you a proposal, I have to make sure that I'm not going to waste my time putting that proposal together. And I don't want to send a proposal that really far exceeds what you're capable of doing right now. And it was great because what we kind of ended up with, which let's do this in phases, let's do it in stages and in steps, because that was easier. And that's how you ask. You ask, find the ability to just say, how does this appeal to you? Does this make sense for you? Is this something that you see could benefit you? Is this of value to you? And that's it. That's how you go from you're having a conversation, because part of that conversation should be business. Part of that conversation should be not just how are you, how are your kids, because that's a little bit, that may happen during the conversation, but initially, especially if it's somebody that you meet on LinkedIn, I think both parties know, we want to know how and if there is potential to work together. So you're getting to know them. You're getting to know their business. Ask them questions. Ask them questions about their business that you may fill the gaps on. Ask them how they're handling this. Ask them how they're doing here. And when they respond, and if they say, oh, everything's perfect, wonderful, wonderful, great. Wonderful if they are doing what they're doing perfectly. But I've had conversations with people that have said, oh, my LinkedIn is great, and I'm posting, and as I'm on the phone with them, I'm on my computer and I go on and I have their LinkedIn page open, and I say, I see that you're posting, but there's no engagement in your posts. So there is something that's missing there. And I brought that to her attention. So ask questions, know what gaps you fill, and talk about those gaps. Talk about how you fill those gaps, or how that person is handling those gaps. How are you handling this? Or, if it's financial services, what do you do when this happens? How do you take care of that? Do you have stuff set aside? Ask them questions that you should know the answers to, that you should know. If they say yes, it's taken care of, wonderful. If all of their ducks are in a row, wonderful. Awesome. This is what I do. Get to know me, get to know, like, and trust me, and build a relationship with me, because if you have everything that you need, when it comes time where you have someone that you know that may need my services, now I've built a rapport with you, and I'm touching base with you, pinging you every now and then, that I may be somebody that you reach out to for that. Okay. Yay. Okay. It's hard because of a lot of employers are letting members and their teams go. Yes. Yeah. That will probably be, we should probably do a whole nother live on that, about different ideas of what we can do, and what individuals can do to generate some revenue. I know it's tough, and everybody's looking for work, and I think we're like over 2 million unemployed. I think it was even almost close to 3 million people unemployed, which is more of a reason to reach out to other people and check in on them. This is not going to be the end all be all. We are survivors. So this is going to be over. When it's over, are you going to have to start from scratch and build? Or are you going to have established all these relationships with that you got to know on a personal level because you were just inquiring about how well they were doing during this time and crisis that we're undergoing? Look at people as people, not as a sale, not as a client. They're a person. They're a person that's undergoing exactly what you're undergoing. They're stressed. They're anxiety. If they're working in an office, maybe they hate their boss. If they're the VP or the CFO, maybe they hate their boss or they hate their environment. People still have drama in their lives. They have something going on in their lives. Look at people as people, not as perfect objects. We are all perfect objects. But we have to look at people as ourselves. What I'm enduring now, when I'm struggling, I know that there are other people struggling. It gives me the relief that it's not just me. This is not just happening to me. It's not just me going through this. This is normal. And I have to learn now how to manage life and supersede, cross this chasm, so that I can go ahead and keep, running, keep with my mojo. But we have to look at people as people, especially when it comes to a sale. People want to know you. People want to buy from you. People want to see your heart. People want to see your authenticity. People want to work with people that they like, that are good people. Be good people. And the other person on the other line, assume that they're good people. Even if they are, maybe nasty on the phone, then obviously I wouldn't say spend 25, 30 minutes with them, even though some of those people you may want to, you may want to have a conversation with them because they're probably undergoing something that's stressing them out. Look at people as people, whether they're nice, whether they're not nice. There's someone that is undergoing something, their own version of mental health, their own version of stress and anxiety, their own version of success that they themselves are trying to attain. You are not in this boat alone. I'm in this boat with you. And everybody that's watching this and everybody that's listening to this is in this boat with you. We have to learn to connect the dots when it comes to building relationships. We are building heart-centered relationships. We need to connect on a heart level and get to know people soulfully before we say, you ready to buy? I need you to buy something from me, And we all have to pay bills, There's a strategy to that. But when you build enough relationships, you're going to build a pipeline of people that know you, that like your energy, that respect your vibe, and you'll get referrals and business will come to you because the energy we put out has a way of coming back to us. Let me repeat that. The energy that we put out has a way of coming back to us. If we put out servitude and we put out love and we're looking to help other people, that energy is coming back. People are going to want to serve you. People are going to want to bring value to you. Look at people as people, not as a buyer of your product or service. All right, we are kind of getting close on time. I can kind of go on here all day. What did I forget to mention? All right, let me make sure any more questions and stuff. Yeah, we talked a little bit about targeting leads, finding your leads, searching for the people that you're looking for. Yep, okay. Let's see. Oh, another thing, just to kind of keep on top, during this downtime, we need to be learning new things. We need to be acquiring new skill sets. If your business is not where it needs to be, or if you don't feel that you are exactly where you want to be, this is a perfect time to work on acquiring skills that you need to make you better. Just make a list. Who do you want to be? What does that picture look like? What does that vision board person of yourself look like? What are they doing? What are they driving? How are they talking? How are they, sharing? How are they showing up to the world? Put that picture up. See that picture in your head and discover what skill sets you need to acquire to become that. What skill sets you need to acquire to fulfill that. And those are the skill sets you should be learning. Because I've read a couple things, people are randomly learning random subjects or random things. But make the time that you're spending and investing in learning, make it worthwhile. Make it worthwhile. All right, so we are getting close to time. Let me see if there's anything else. Building alliances. So a lot of those, even those cold calls or those relationships that you're building, think about building alliances. I got off a phone call with a woman in California earlier, and not just as a client, but building alliances, and building things together. So, which you guys will meet her eventually because we have some stuff that's cooking. So I'll probably share her, maybe do an interview with her on one of these things. But it's about forward thinking, being positive, and understanding that the opportunity around us is more spiritual than it is physical. We have to decide who we are as human beings now during this time and connect with people soulfully. That's what feeds the soul, is connecting with people soulfully. It's not so much as looking at individuals as a number or as a sale, because I believe that will come. So long as you're putting action and motion and activity into your daily tasks, all of that will come. Okay, and if you need help, feel free to reach out to me. My email is sandra@yourcompany.com. Follow my Facebook page. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. It's one of my favorite platforms, but whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, let's connect. Shoot me an email if you'd like to have a conversation or want to schedule some time on my calendar. I would love to give you 10 to 15 minutes, maybe longer, obviously. But it's about building heart-centered relationships. Don't forget that. During this time when we're all, in our homes and we're struggling to what to do, focus on building heart-centered relationships. Connect with people on a soulful level. Look at people as people, not as a dollar sign. And that's it. All right. Let's see what else. That's it, guys. The show, I'm gonna wrap it up. Let me just make sure let me make sure I'm not ignoring any questions that might have come in. I think that's it for now. Oh, wait, no. Let's see what's here. All right, good. All right, that's it, I suppose. Yep, 4 o'clock, I have a call. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Stay well, stay blessed, stay safe. I hope your families are well. Stay indoors. Don't go out to public places. And just, own your worth. Own your worth because you're worthy. All right, guys, take care, and we'll see you again soon.